man, tied for the most wins in UFC welterweight history, most cage time, I think, fight time in UFC welterweight history now. Could you have imagined, back in your fighting in like Hoosier Fight Club and stuff, that this was going to be your trajectory?
To be honest with you, no. I mean, I'm truly blessed and fortunate to be here right now. I mean, the dream always was to be fighting for the UFC, but to be blessed enough to actually do it for 10 years now, it truly is a blessing, and I appreciate and honor every moment of it.
I mean, maybe you think one day, hey, I'll fight in the UFC for a long time, but you stop and think like, oh, I'm going to get up there with records that Georges St-Pierre has.
Yeah, I mean, especially when I first started out, my first year in UFC, I went 1-2, and I honestly thought I was going to get cut back then. I packed up, moved to Denver, and I was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to make a chance at the UFC. And my first 3 fights didn't go my way. I went 1-2. I for sure thought I was going to get cut. I went as far as I'd taken the Denver police exam because I thought my UFC career was over at that point. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll continue being a police officer and working towards MMA in the backfield and making my second stream thing. But since then, I was like, you know what? Let me just throw my eggs in this basket and go for it. And it's been paying off ever since.
Talk about that first round. I mean, obviously the knockdown was, things didn't look so great there in the first, but talk about kind of, I guess, coming back from that. And I guess a second question to that would be, do you feel like he potentially made a mistake, maybe not coming after you as aggressively as he could have after he knocked you down?
No, he actually made a right call not coming in. I was hoping that he would close the distance. I felt most comfortable there. So when he got the knockdown and decided to let me back up, it was actually a pretty smart decision on his end because I would have tied him up and probably submitted him if he followed me to the ground. So he definitely made the right call about backing off.
After you kind of got your wits back about you, at some point are you in there thinking, okay, I play the long game as good as anybody else, so just give me a chance to recover and I'll take you, into deep water, and that's where I win this thing?
So once he got the knockdown, I knew it was like, crap, I'm losing this fight now. So I knew I had to pick it up and get back in there. I couldn't afford to wait for the long game. I had to try to even the scorecards and look for a finish as soon as I got knocked down. I was like, all right, there's no time to play and see how this thing goes. I got to go out there and get it done. So I was just constantly chasing a finish, chasing my opportunity, and it ended up going to decision. But I was pretty much chasing whatever victory I can get at that point.
Were you confident that you were going to get your hand raised, or were you surprised that it was a split? I mean,
I definitely was surprised it was a split. I thought I for sure won 2 and 3 going into it. I was surprised about the split, but you never know how they're going to judge it. But at the end of the day, I was pretty confident. I had won rounds 2 and 3.
You're a guy that they love to say on the broadcast and and media people like us, like perennial contender, right? You hear that about you all the time. You've won 5 of 6, I think, 7 of 9, somewhere in that ballpark. Is this the kind of win where you come back from a little bit of adversity that you can string together another 2, maybe 3, and suddenly you're knocking at the door? Is it a win over a guy like this?
100%. I mean, at this point, it's not necessarily who I fight, but it's how I fight. I know what I'm capable of. I know I can go out there and beat the best welterweights in the world. But it's just about me making sure I'm consistent and I get it done. I mean, you look at the guys who I fought over the last couple of years. I've beaten every UFC welterweight champion except for Tyron Woodley since Georges St-Pierre. So I know for a fact I can beat those guys in the top of the division. It's just a matter of me bringing out that consistency to get there.
And do you feel like, if you do that you're the kind of guy who's going to get a title shot at some point?
100%. I'm right there knocking on it. I mean, I've seen crazy things happen in this sport, so for me, it's all about consistency.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hey, Neil, congrats on the win. When this fight got made, I'll be honest, I was like, it didn't really make sense on paper. Max Griffin, incredibly tough guy, but you're a top 10 guy. He's out of the rankings altogether. He proved he's a tough guy in there. But was there any disappointment just because of, where you're at in the rankings, where you've been in your career, that you didn't get another ranked opponent?
At first, there kind of was. I thought I want to rank the opponent. I want this, I want that. But then life itself is my biggest motivator. I literally looked myself in the mirror and said, excuse my language, but who the fuck do I think I am? I have a son to provide for. I have a family to provide for. I can't go out there and be choosy. I have to go out there and get it done. And I have a family to worry about. So I couldn't sit there and wait for the right opportunity to present itself. I had to go out there and make the best of it. And I feel like that's exactly what I did out here tonight against Max Griffin. Of course, I want to fight a top 5 guy. I want to fight the guys that are getting me close to that title shot. But at this stage of my life and the things I have to, the people I have to take care of, I don't have the opportunity to be picky and be choosy. I have to go out there and get it done no matter what.
Is there any motivation? Not that Max was like trash talking you or anything, but like, you know, he sees you as his guy, as the guy who can get him into the top 10, as the guy who can kind of be the stepping stone for his career. Is that motivating when you get a guy like a Max Griffin in there and you beat him, to say how satisfying that is? Because you have to imagine for him, this was everything. This was his title fight in a way, because this was his entry into that top 10.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was the guy on the other side. I'm still that guy on the other side knocking on the door of opportunity. So I knew he was going to come out there the best version of himself, to go out there and try to prove a point. And I feel like that brings out the best of me. Like you said, he wasn't a ranked guy coming into it, but he was a guy with a lot to gain. And that's one of the most dangerous fighters out there, guys that have everything to gain and nothing to lose. They go out there and take risks that most guys wouldn't. So going into this fight, I knew the potential danger he posed coming into it. But I'm a bad dude. I fought some of the best guys in the world, so it doesn't faze me at all.
Of course, you mentioned the name again, Khamzat Chimaev. That's a guy you've wanted for a long time. I think we've talked about you fighting Khamzat Chimaev 2 or 3 times. Everyone says no one wants to fight this guy. Everyone's avoiding him. And you're not the loud guy. You're not the trash talker, all that kind of stuff. But do you ever sit there kind of frustrated and say, hey, I've been calling this guy for like a year. You know, like when they're saying no one will fight him, here I am.
Yeah, I mean, all I can do is, like I said, be consistent. I mean, no one will fight him. Neil Magny will. Neil Magny will fight anyone in this fucking planet right now. I mean, you come in tomorrow and say, hey, Ngannou, end of the month, you want to fight him? I'm there. I'm just that kind of competitor. I do not care who it is. Khamzat would be ideal, but like I said, at the end of the day, if UFC calls me tomorrow and says, hey, we got so-and-so next month, how do you think about it? Sign me up. I'm there.
Because you've been that guy to step in and fight so often, you know, 5 times in a year, all those things you've done, you know, in the past, I won't say frustrated or anger, but I mean, is there any disappointment that, you know, Khamzat does get a fast track and he's getting Gilbert Burns? He didn't have to go through the top 10. Maybe he is that good. We just don't know. But I mean, is there any frustration? He gets the number 2 guy in the world. Everyone's saying if he wins, he's going to get a title shot. And you've been grinding. And you're not alone, but, you know, he's one of those guys where he's going to be 4 fights in his career in the UFC or 5 fights in his career, and he might be getting the title shot.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it boils right back to consistency. I can't look at what someone else is doing and feel sorry for myself. I can only hold myself accountable and chase my goals. I guarantee you, if last year, if I were to beat Chiesa, if I were to beat Mike Chiesa last year, we had a main event in Abu Dhabi, I'll be in a very different position right now of fighting. But I dropped the ball. That's something I can hold myself accountable for and move forward with. So it's the only thing that's in my control. I can't blame him for getting the fast track. I can just blame myself for not showing up when it mattered.
Last thing, you have been so busy throughout your entire career, but you've had a couple of lulls here and there, time off. That's not typically what we think of from Neil Magny. So how busy do you want to be this year? I mean, at this point in your career, you fought a guy, Max Griffin, as you said, maybe not ranking-wise made sense, but you're not going to sit back and just wait. So are you willing to fight basically whoever they say, you know, throw at you and say, hey, I want to get back in there in June or whatever? Or do you want to say, hey, you know, give me that top 5, 6 guy in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want that top 5 guy right away. But at the end of the day, I can't. Like I said, I can't wait for him. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen crazier things happen. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, Islam fought a guy who wasn't ranked, being Bobby Green, and he moved up 1 ranking spot. So if I have to fight whoever UFC throws at me and move up 1 by 1 to find myself in the top 5, so be it. I'll do it. But at the end of the day, I feel like consistency is key, and I just have to keep showing up over and over and over again.
Congrats again.
Awesome. Thank you.